Today we have Gopika and Monisha with us, who have actually started a new application that is Buddy Up. Today we will just start talking about what is Buddy Up, what is it, how did you start, how was your journey. So, the first question is what inspired you to start Buddy Up?
Gopika and I both mums to neurodivergent boys. My son Nihan is 19 years old and he has Down syndrome, and Gopika's son has autism. And my son went to a mainstream school. He's very friendly, very social. But as he got to his teenage years, I started worrying about the time that his classmates would move on. And in anticipation of this time that he would eventually feel a vacuum, I started actively looking for friends for him. And I didn't know really where to start. So I started putting feelers out, asking people. And luckily for us, Dr. Vibha Krishnamurthy, who runs Ummeed, is a friend of mine. And I said to her that, do you know any parents, do you know any other kids Nihan's age who you could introduce me to, who could, potentially become friends? And she thought about it, and one of the names that came out of this ask was Gopika. So she introduced us, and we basically got the boys to meet, and it was like magic. They just clicked. They did a baking activity together. They got on really well, and it's been maybe about 3.5 years since they met, and they just got increasingly, more comfortable with each other. They've become really like buddies, and we realized really how powerful that is for them. Of course, the time did come when my son's classmates moved on, and that vacuum has very seamlessly been filled by having Veer in his life. The two of them do everything together. They go for movies, they go for coffee. They literally have the life that their siblings, their neurotypical siblings have, something that we could have never dreamt of. And it's just been so powerful. And then I remember thinking, what if I hadn't known Vibha? How would I have found these friends? And in fact, I looked for an app at that point. I said, is there a platform? And there wasn't one. And so when we met, we said, maybe there's a space to do this, and maybe it'll be useful to other people who are also searching for social connections. And that was really the idea.
Yeah. That's really interesting, because just recently, around a month back, I returned from my mother's place. There was one friend who told, I have a sister, just talk to her. She has a daughter who is of special need, and she wants to talk to you. Like, I don't see adults. So she was 30 years age, the kid, the girl.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, fine, I'll just talk to her. Though she was just in a mild ID. So she was perfectly fine, except that she was not 30. She was mentally around 16 or 17.
Right.
So, but she was doing all her work independently. Everything was fine. She was talking, she was walking, everything was fine. Just that she was not like a 30-year-old.
Right.
When I spoke to her, it felt so bad. The only concern she had was, I want to do what my cousins are doing.
Right.
I want to go out for movies. I want to go to party. I want to just have a coffee outside. I want to just go out.
Yeah.
When she used to go out, if she is going to the 30-year-old people, they are not as per her age, so they are not interested in talking to her. If she goes to 17-year-old, they get scared, or they are like, she's old. It's not our crowd.
Right.
So the moment I saw the Buddy Up app, which I saw in one of my groups, WhatsApp group, the first thing came into my mind was that girl. Oh my God, this is so needed, so much needed, and it is actually not there. So that's really an initiative. Just going on to that, any one of you is from the IT or computer or that background that, making an app is difficult. So how did you try to overcome those issues? You would be having multiple issues while developing the app. It would have been really a pain to just make it perfect. So how
like you said, we are not techies at all. If you had told us that we would know what UI, UX, or user interface or anything is about, we would have no idea what you were talking about a year and a half ago. We started out during the lockdown as a Facebook group. We really tried to spread the word, but somehow it just did not take off. But we still wanted to do something. We said we should do something, so we explored the idea, should we do an app, a website, went back and forth between that, and finally we realized that an app is so much more accessible. And plus, we all live in the age of smartphones. Everybody, even people in small towns and villages, have smartphones, and they're all on data, they're all downloading apps, they're all using it. And so it was a real kind of relearning and a learning of new things for us. In fact, Monisha and I joke, because we were talking one day and saying, we need to build neural pathways to prevent ourselves from growing older and to keep our brains young. And we didn't realize that this is the neural pathways that we'll be building. Big learning for us.
Yeah.
So no tech background whatsoever. We were lucky to have the help of our app developer, who was super invested and continues to be super invested in the project, constantly thinking of new ways to improve the app. Let's add this feature. And I think for us, there were two things that we were very, very clear about: safety and accessibility. And we needed to make sure that it was safe and accessible, and of course easy to use by people from different disability backgrounds, because the app is for people of all ages. It is for people with all disabilities. So we needed to make sure that people with any kind of disability can use the app. So that was our main idea when we were developing the app. But yes, we had, learning tech was a big thing. There were times when some feature would work, some feature would not work, keep going into testing. So we had multiple focus groups, starting with, at the start, before we even started the app, telling people that, do you think it's a good idea? Should we even do something like this? And then again, once the app was sort of in its almost, say, 60-70% ready stage, again to do a focus group to say, now test the app, tell us what is working for you, what is not working for you. We're again going to constantly asking for feedback from users, constantly making those changes. We've had an accessibility expert who works with the visually impaired community, work on it, make sure that screen readers work. So we make sure that happens as well. So we've tried to make it as accessible as we possibly can. Of course, we were told right at the beginning, don't wait for it to be perfect, otherwise you're never going to launch.
Very true.
You're never going to launch. It's always work in progress.
Yeah.
So we've launched it. We are constantly learning. People are telling us this is working, this is not working, and we are taking those into consideration and kind of upgrading it and updating it as we receive the feedback.
That's really great. So you talked about the safety and accessibility. So even a visually impaired or hearing impaired, so there are ways to use the app even if you're not able to see or you're not able to hear.
For hearing impaired people, it's all visual.
Okay.
For people who are visually impaired, the app, most visually impaired people, in fact, that's our biggest disability group currently on the app who are using it. As long as screen readers work, they can use it because it's reading out everything that's on the app. In fact, that was a great learning for us to see how the app is actually used by visually impaired people. We just were fascinated by how quickly the screen reader talks at 10x speed, and we're like struggling to keep up with what is being said. But they're obviously very conversant with using various apps in this manner. And so, yes, so it can be used.
So if they want to type it, they will speak.
No, visually impaired people can, they have some way of, I don't know how, but they do type.
Okay, they do type the...
They've learned the keyboard,
Oh,
and
that's
great. Also all phones have an accessibility feature.
Yeah,
so you have to activate that,
Mm-hmm.
and they have learned how to read it. Now we've also learned a little bit
And yes,
about
they
how
do
to
voice
do that.
type. They
Yes,
do voice
they do.
type as well. So that
Yeah.
when they turn on a voice typing function of the
Got
phone,
it.
they can do that as well. So I mean, they're using it successfully. I don't know exactly how they're doing
I mean,
it, but
that's
they're doing
really
it, yeah.
great, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, making it accessible to a visually impaired is because everything is seeing.
Yes,
Usually, we see
exactly,
the app.
absolutely.
That's so
And
true.
we were told at the time of when we were testing with visually impaired people that there are so many apps out there that you would think, big companies that have, big budgets, apps are lots of things are still not accessible.
True.
So we were kind of a little surprised, and I know we may not be 100% there, but at least that big push towards making it accessible has been done, and I'm kind of was a little surprised as to how many places they've been to and been disappointed that it's not accessible to them. So yeah,
True,
it was a learning for us to know that it's such a big group and they're really not being catered for on so many platforms.
When was the lab app launched? Like
It was launched about a month and a day ago. Yeah, exactly. It's about a month old.
and how long you have been working on the app?
We have been from conceptualization April to 2023, and we actually started work on the app I think in October, November last year, and we launched about a month ago.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice, really nice.
And it's still like Monisha said, it's a work in progress. It's
Very true.
continues
Every app
to
is
remain.
actually even now, even whatever app we are using is still we are improvising it every
Absolutely.
time, taking the feedback, improvising.
Yes.
That's the thing which will make it better.
Right.
Going further for the safety aspect, so social media, whatever the things are going on presently, kids are on social media from as early as 10 years, 12 years. Everyone is on Insta, they have their own reels. So, how do you ensure the safety for these kids or the people?
Okay, so should I go first?
Yeah. Sure, go
Firstly, our app is meant to be operated by people that are 18 and over.
Okay.
So we don't want children on
True.
the app. Secondly, we actually have certain features that we felt were very important to build into the app. So obviously block, report feature if somebody is threatening you, all that usual stuff is there. The one feature that we added was that if you are chatting with someone and you feel like you just don't know who that person is out there, right? You have the possibility of doing a quick video call on the chat to establish that person's identity. So somebody can't be saying, "Oh, I'm 18 years old," when they're actually like 50, or saying they're female when they're male. So that, and the last thing is that if there are parents of people, maybe someone is 18 but actually has some sort of vulnerability, maybe because they have intellectual disability, then the app can actually be installed on that person's phone. The parent signs in with the exact same login and can actually be just an observer on the app. So the young person is on the app and the other person is silently observing. So that possibility is also there. So on the onus ultimately of being responsible for your own safety does lie with the people that are we can't cover
Very
every
true.
possibility, but from our end we've really made
Yeah.
every effort. I mean, we were thinking both our boys are going to be on the app, so what would we want
Them not to do
to
and
not to do and to do, and what features can we add on the app to make sure that they are safe, and how would we feel comfortable, and that's kind of the way we've
Yeah.
planned things.
We've also when you log in, you have you sign in with a mobile number and an OTP. So we make sure that there are no bots on the app. You also have a feature like Monisha said of blocking and reporting. So if you block a user, they cannot if you block a user, you will not show up when they search for you. So you will not show up at all in their search. If you report a user to us, we will make sure that this person is off the app, and then they cannot sign in to the app until they sign from a different phone number, literally. So that is something which we've made sure that we've made sure that ensures the safety, and we have extensive safety guidelines where we talked about the fact that even though it is for people who are above 18, if you feel that your child is above 18 but is vulnerable, can be taken advantage of, and that they may not be able to operate it by themselves, then like Monisha said, you can sign in as well and monitor the app. You can also operate the app on behalf of your child. So you can, as a caregiver, you can sign in and find friends for your child.
That's really great. In the last one, which you said that the other, I mean the mother or the parents can also sign in and just observe. Will the child get to know that they are observing?
You know, they if the parent actually starts chatting,
Definitely.
they
Then
would know. Or
will.
if they open the chats before then, it would be a read message. But
Mhm.
if they're just observing, no, I don't think
it-
necessarily they would
Okay.
know.
Okay.
It's just two different, it's like just an observer account. So as long as the parent is not participating in the
True.
in the in the chat,
Mhm.
that they really shouldn't.
And again, this is just to ensure that the
Yeah,
children are safe.
definitely.
You know,
Yes,
that's the
absolutely.
only thing.
And this would be really for, I think, for families where I would imagine that this is a family that the parent would tell the child
And do it.
and do it. They said, look, I'm putting this on your phone, but I'm just going to be an observer. I mean, that's how we would like it to be.
Definitely.
You know?
So this safety thing, I recently used the Uber. I didn't know they have started that, but if the Uber car stays for more than
Yes.
15 or 20
You get a
minutes at a one
notification.
place
Yes.
consistently, continuously,
Yeah.
it sends you a message,
Yes.
is it all okay?
Yes.
Your car
Yes.
has been on hold. I was like, wow, I mean, this was not there before.
Yeah.
That's really important. That's nice. So, what were the biggest challenges you faced when you started making it? Once you definitely told me the tech part and all, but when you started launching it, like if suppose you have decided that this day I will be launching the app, anything which was stopping you, or you were scared of, or you felt, I mean, how it will go? What was the feeling like?
I think everything was scary, right?
Yeah.
Because when you're an entrepreneur, everything is scary. You don't know what is out there. We literally had to jump off a cliff and trust that we will be
Yeah.
caught.
Yeah.
We knew that there was nothing like this that existed in India. Okay, we looked extensively, did a lot of research, spoke to so many people in the disability community, in the tech, in the tech community, in the business community. We've spoken to so many people, people who've made apps, therapists, psychologists, so many people, and there really wasn't anything like this. So when we launched the app, we were literally jumping into unknown waters without a lifeboat or anything to save us. The only thing that kept us going was that idea that we are doing something that is going to help people, because all the people we spoke to as the app was being developed and we would say we're working on this, would say what a fantastic idea. So that was the only thing. We honestly are still discovering who our target population is, who our target users are. Are they caregivers? Are they young people with disabilities? Are they children with disabilities who the caregivers are signing up on behalf of? We don't know.
Adults with
neurodiverse conditions, we don't know, right? And that will only happen as we go along. And so really, in that sense,
Yeah. I think
everything
we
is-
just knew that there is a problem. I mean, we all know that loneliness is, rampant. People talk about a loneliness epidemic, not just in the disability community, just all over. People are sitting in their homes, not getting out as much. So we knew there is a problem. This is a possible way of solving it. We took our chances that hopefully it will, help people to reach out. Sometimes you just, at the end of the day, want somebody to send a message to someone. And we also figured that, from our, research during when we were setting up the app, we would talk to young people who would say, we've been on other platforms. We've been on platforms like Bumble has a BFF,
Acha, okay.
some kind of thing. And they said very often we would go there, but the moment somebody found out we have a disability, they would
drop
not
us.
contact.
Yeah.
So here you're stating up front so it's not like something that pops up later, right? You're owning whatever disability or whatever neurodiversity you come with, and someone is befriending you knowing that upfront, I think it changes the dynamic in the friendship. And I also feel that with, like, say, our boys, just both of them come with their own set of challenges, and because they have some sort of shared experience, the possibility of that being an enduring friendship is much stronger. It's a friendship of equals, right? In that sense, so we thought that's very powerful, and we were hoping that this app will help connect people in that manner.
True. So now it's one month around.
1 month.
So how are you getting the feedbacks from the community? Like, what are the feedbacks?
So just today we got an email from somebody who said that I have not been able to find friends, and thank you so much for making this app. So it's been largely positive. Really, really lovely to get up every morning and see these messages, which are so lovely, that people write into us saying that this is such a good thing that you made. There is a lot of interesting feedback that we've got even during the focus groups that we did, and we hope to do one again now with people from various disabilities, so that we can understand what they need. Ultimately, we need to create an app which is to be used by people with all kinds of disabilities, and we want to make sure that they are able to use it, because they are the end users.
True.
Yeah. Some of the before we had focus groups of people before the app was launched. Now we actually want to find out the people who are on the app, are they happy? Could we be doing something more?
Better,
So that's our next phase of
Just a question: how many users presently are using it? Any idea?
I think this morning we track it
We
every
track it every
morning, and today I think we have around 950
active, yeah.
unique users.
Unique users.
We're using terminology.
That's
Yeah.
great. That's great in a month. I mean,
Yeah.
that's really nice. Very nice. Very nice. One more, just a question: that are you planning to extend it further to like employment or vocation or anything like that? Because you anyways will be having a community. They might be having difficulties in their livelihood, in their jobs, in employment. I mean, anything you're planning to partner with someone who can help them? Any thoughts on that?
I think this app fills a need which there are platforms for employment, which exist. There are platforms which exist for kind of vocational training. There has not been a platform that has existed for
Definitely.
friendship. So that was our primary focus. But as we expand and grow, we want to see what other areas we can get into that have not been entered into. And so definitely we'd be open to any kind of thing that we go along. We are open to it. We just need to know where that area lies and learn as we go along and
Yeah.
see what
Like
kind
any
of
app, I think we really listen to our users,
Yeah.
and then we kind of are guided by what their needs are. So at some point in the future, if there's a very strong ask for something, then of course we'd consider it. We have a loop where we have feedback from the app. They can people write to us regularly. Can you please add this feature? Can you please add that feature? So we can't do everything straight away. We've just launched, but we're saving all of this feedback, and we look at some of the suggestions, and as time goes by, we would definitely consider adding things.
So just that child which I spoke about, the girl, 30-year-old, the question was, where should I? So I didn't have knowledge about Buddy at that time, but then she was like, mother was like, where I should send, like, how do I help her to make friends? So my suggestion was, I think she needs to go for some class or something, maybe a yoga class, maybe a gym, so that she makes a circle there.
Sure.
If not, put her in some vocation, there she will make a circle. But the thing was, she was from Ahmedabad. So I didn't know the vocational or any classes or any type of activities for her there. I felt I just told them, but then it was like you need to search. I'm not aware of what is there,
Right.
but you need to search for these things so that she can go. So I felt if this was there before, if I mean even in the app like Buddy Up, they have made friends. Maybe some would be from the same location.
Yeah.
They might have one person would be having some knowledge about something. They
Sure.
would suggest, and I think it would be a good way of starting something.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. And so, what the app also allows you to do is that, for example, if there is a newly diagnosed caregiver, somebody whose child has been diagnosed recently. I mean, I think we both remember what it was like at that point of time. You're just completely lost. You don't know what to think. You don't know what to feel. And you don't know where to turn. You don't know what the road ahead is going to be like. And so what they can do is they can sign on and look for another caregiver. So say there is a young parent whose child has been diagnosed. They can seek out a parent whose child is 20 or 30 and also look for, so we have that option of looking to meet other caregivers. So they can then connect with that person and say, okay, my child is 3 years old, your child is 20. Can you tell me where I can go for whatever it is? What will my path ahead look like? Will my child go to school? Will they be independent? Will they be able to do things independently? I mean, I honestly feel that if I had been told all those years ago that my son, I would never have imagined that he'd be doing any of what he is doing now. But if there was somebody who I could have reached out to and spoken to, it might have made me feel better. So there is that option as well within the app.
That's so true, Gopika, because I think the parents' major concern is till the time we are there, till the time the child is small. I mean, everything is fine, but once he gets adult, they are not able to imagine even how it is. So that makes them more depressed. It's more troublesome for them. I think this is such a good point that they can actually speak to a person who already has a child who is
Exactly.
older.
Yeah.
That's really great. I mean, till now, any users' negative feedback or anything which was resisting, like, why did you do that? It was not necessary, something like that.
I don't think we've had any negative feedback as such. We've had users, wanting to, have more, like WhatsApp, because we do have a chat in the app, because we wanted, users to connect
Yeah.
with each other extensively without sharing any personal details or phone number or address. You can just get to know the person
Then
quite
decide,
anonymously. So some users kind of wanted some more WhatsApp-like features because they're so used to much better chat possibilities. But we can't recreate a WhatsApp on the app. We have to keep the functionality at this point to what we can afford to give them at this point. So maybe just about
Yeah.
can we have some, when we do a group
Group
chat
chat,
and
yeah.
stuff, but we're not there yet. But we're listening to them, so maybe a couple of months down the line, if it's easy for us to do, we can keep adding features. So more things like more suggestions rather than any criticisms. I don't think
No,
so.
I don't think so. I think everyone has just been overwhelming to us.
Yeah.
How everybody has said thank you so much for creating this app.
Yeah.
We've had people who write into us, like I said, on a daily basis, saying that we're really glad that something like this exists, because it really has not been created by anyone in this country, certainly not.
That's definitely true. So your users are from all the area. I mean, all the states
All
of.
over.
all
Yeah.
over,
Yeah.
all over
Yeah.
the
I
country,
think,
smaller places as well.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we've got from small towns. They're from all over.
I can imagine it would be very useful for people in remote places because they don't have those networks to connect with someone. Being in a big city, we always have someone who'll know someone. But for people that are in smaller towns, it could
Or
be.
even B town, C town,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
tier 2
definitely,
city, tier 2, 3 cities.
Yeah.
It would definitely make a difference.
That's nice. So just this last question maybe. How are you seeing the app to grow? Like, definitely user wise as well, plus feature wise. Like, what all you would be thinking that we would be doing this, something like that, anything?
We
I
have
mean-
tons of features that we would like to add, but obviously we have to do it one step at a time.
Yeah, I mean, group chats, longer video calls.
Maybe a kind of a discussion
Forum,
forums,
yeah.
you know, some sort of media, feed on the chat, on the app too, that people can have interesting information. We do have a resources page, but it's just quite basic right now, but we could add a lot more resources. So there's a lot that can be done. We'll get there.
We do want to keep the focus, however, to be friendship, because there are so many other apps which are doing the excellent work to provide resources, to be able to, like you said, provide jobs. There are lots of other apps which do that, and lots of other platforms which do that. Nobody is doing what Buddy Up is doing. So the focus, we want to be friendship. We can of course add all these features, but the focus will be friendship.
So I have a friend, she had made the app for the routine users, the same dating app kind of a thing. They used to have something like weekend plan, like a group of girls and boys used to come for like some activity, maybe a comedy show or maybe a brunch or some art activity. So that at least they can see each other and make more friends if they can.
Absolutely, that would be a lovely feature to add, so that people can actually. The whole idea is for those that want for this to then transition into a actual physical meetup. Absolutely, that is the plan, and any way that we can enable that through the app, we'll definitely be looking at, adding features that allow people to do that.
That's great. I think it was a great conversation to have with you people, and really enjoyed it, and I really loved the app. So the concept itself is really good. I mean, it would be I don't know if it is there in US or something. I mean, anywhere outside India.
I think that when we did our research, there was one app in the US similar to
But
this.
that also had not that many users. There is an app in Australia, which again had a number of users, but that was only for people with autism. So there aren't that many. There's one other app which we downloaded, which again have people from all over, but seems to be relatively inactive. I think this is a community which people don't think about, and so they feel like why should people with disabilities really want friends? But I think everybody needs friends.
Definitely.
Everybody needs somebody whom they can just hang out with, chat with, talk nonsense with, just be themselves with.
And the idea of having this cross disability connection was also very interesting for us. Just seeing our own boys, as I told you, my son has Down syndrome, very very social. Gopika's son Veer is very quiet, but they've both grown. Just being friends with each other has made them both grow. Veer has become more social. My son has become, seeing Veer take taxis and crossing the road by himself, he now is more, inspired to kind of also become more independent and go out by himself and stuff like that. So they in a way bring different things to the table. They compensate for each other, which is fantastic.
Actually, both of them are learning from each other.
Absolutely. Beautifully.
That's so much needed. And that's why that cross disability is very important. Otherwise, all will have the same features. Learning might be less. That's definitely true. So basically, you have a lot of scope even outside. I mean, not only India, because if it is not there, if it's very less, and I think the way feedback you have got here, which is not even that much of evolved society. Definitely, presently we are just trying to make awareness of the problems. I mean, we are in that stage. So definitely it has a lot of scope everywhere.
We've had some quite a bit of interest, but we're going to have to take it slowly.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.